Hey guys, hey, let's discuss the similarities, if you think there are any, and the differences between the cases of Christopher Watts and Scott Peterson. When the case of Christopher Watts first, flooded the headline news back in August of 2018, right off the bat, a lot of people, both on social media and on mainstream media too, were drawing comparisons between the two cases, right? Good morning, DG. And they were saying things like, oh, Christopher Watt's wife was just like Lacey Peterson. Both women were so successful and both women were so wonderful, right? But here's the thing. Personally, in my opinion, I don't think there are any similarities between Lacey Peterson and Christopher Watt's wife. I think there are similarities between the lies we were told about Christopher Watt's wife and Lacey Peterson's true life story. We were told that Christopher Watt's wife was a college graduate. Well, Lacey Peterson actually was. We were told that Christopher Watt's wife had a wonderful career. Well, Lacey Peterson actually did. We were told that Christopher Watt's wife was wonderful with children. Lacey Peterson was a school teacher who was actually wonderful with children. And remember, the stay-at-home mom routine that we were told about Christopher Watt's wife, she stayed at home, yeah. She was a mom, so technically she was a stay-at-home mom, I guess. But I think it makes a difference once you learn that both children were in daycare full-time. The parallels were being drawn over and over again, even when it came to the girlfriends. And in my opinion, there is no similarity between Scott Peterson's situation with his girlfriend and Christopher Watt's situation with his girlfriend. Hey, Jeanette. In my opinion, Christopher Watts was not lying to his girlfriend. Oh, I love it, Daisy Days. Daisy Days just said, afternoon, MM, great timing. Just got finished listening to one of your marathons with Honey Badger. Needed to hear the voice of reason. In my opinion, when Christopher Watts told his coworker that he was, doinking, that he and his wife were separating, getting divorced, the marriage was over, that sort of thing, I think it was the truth. When Scott Peterson, on the other hand, was saying that he lost his wife or that he was standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, yeah, I think he was lying to his girlfriend probably right from the start. There's no comparison. I do not believe for a second that Christopher Watt's wife was shocked or even upset about whether or not he was doinking his coworker, because I think that marriage was over months, if not years before. Do you remember seeing those wedding photos? We were led to believe early on that Christopher Watts and his wife had some sort of a fairy tale romance, and we were led to believe from early on that that was their first wedding, or I should say her first wedding, because it actually was his first wedding. People commenting on the case would line up Lacey Peterson's wedding photo right next to Christopher Watt's wife's wedding photo. I mean, to begin with, you can tell there's at least like a 10-year difference, right? That's another thing. We were told that Christopher Watts and his wife were just starting out, a young couple just starting out. No, they weren't. She was at least 34 years old. That is not a young person just starting out at all. Lacey Peterson actually did not spend more money than she and her husband earned. And Laci Peterson actually earned money. Laci Peterson knew how to cook. Laci Peterson made a very warm and loving home for her and her husband and to welcome their son, baby Connor. Christopher Watt's wife didn't even go in for prenatal care. I don't care how many shopping trips she went on to buy new baby furniture. Why the hell didn't she go in for prenatal care? Especially when she claimed that she was spotting and cramping. And she still didn't go to see a doctor? No, she was hopping on airplanes to go hang out with her MLM buddies. I don't see any similarities between the two women at all. At all. Daisy Day says the wedding clothes looked like grabbed off of the peg in a hurry. I was so shocked to see how, I guess, poorly fitted, right? That tux that Christopher Watts wore was like, what's that from? Like the actor's dressing room or something where they have a pile of crap clothes? That tux looked ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous on him. And her dress, I'm sorry, I don't know, 1-800-boobs are us. Like, is that how brides are dressing now? Hey, Pixie Doll. You know, you can see in the photos of Laci and Scott at their wedding that they were truly a young couple starting out. They had shared goals and shared dreams, and they both knew how to set goals and how to reach their goals. They met in college. They graduated from college. Christopher Watt's wife, on the other hand, claimed, right? She claimed that she was accepted into some nursing program that we still can't find any evidence that it even existed. Now let's flip right over to the case of Darlie Routier. And I'm just going to list off a few things about Darlie Routier. She evidently had a notice that the mortgage payment was late. She evidently had a couple of vacations planned. One was to head out east to visit her family, I think just a couple of weeks or a week or so after the tragedy occurred. The other vacation was for the following month. I think it was for like mid-July, I'm not sure. And 2 of her children were murdered in what should have been the safety of their home on June 6th of 1996. I think it was mid-July of 1996. The Darlie planned to fly to Cancun with one of her girlfriends, leaving hubby and kids behind. I don't think that would have been Laci. But that sure seems to be how Christopher Watt's wife acted. Darlie Routier was known as Shop Till She Drops Darlie. And you know, she and her husband both worked hard for the business that he had. So I'm not going to fault Darlie for that at all, because she was a hard worker. And she actually was a stay-at-home mom, by the way. She actually stayed home with her children. Her children stayed home too, you know, unless they were actually in school. And I mean school, I don't mean daycare, okay? So when you think about it, there are even some huge differences between Darlie and Christopher Watt's wife. But there are a lot of similarities too. Darlie Routier was close with her mother-in-law. And in my opinion, so was Christopher Watt's wife. According to a person who contacted me who worked near Darren's shop, Darlie was known to kind of fly off the handle. And from what we've been reading about the case of Christopher Watts, it sounds like Christopher Watt's wife was known to fly off the handle too. A neighbor who contacted me said that Darlie was overheard yelling to the children, screaming at the children, "Get the hell out of my house." That sounds like an angry mom, if you ask me. On the other hand, I do think that Darlie loved her children with all her heart. I do think that Darlie tried her best to be the best mom she could be. I also think that Darlie needed help, just as I think that Christopher Watt's wife needed help. And in my opinion, little Bella and Cece Watts and little Devin and Damon Routier suffered because of their own mothers' issues. Where was society? Why weren't the children protected? Darlie said that she knew that she needed help, but that she was concerned about, a future custody battle. She didn't want her mother-in-law to get custody of her children. And in the case of Christopher Watts, I think it's pretty clear by now, when we're told by a family member that that court hearing was for an ongoing family matter, and when we're told that Christopher Watt's wife asked a lawyer all about custody and divorce in March of 2018, and when we're told that Christopher Watt's wife told a hairstylist that she was getting divorced and looking forward to being single again, well, I think in both cases, custody was an issue on the minds of both Christopher Watt's wife and Darlie Routier. A similarity I can think of is that Christopher Watts and Darren both seem to be rather passive with a very strong-willed wife. I think both Darren and Christopher Watts would pretty much do whatever their wives told them to do. And I think in both cases, I think that the women were known to be, what's the word people use, bossy? Take a look at it from the gender-free lens. If either woman had been treated the way they treated their husbands, then we'd be looking at it totally in a different way. But when a woman acts that way, then we just say they're bossy, right? And in fairness to Darlie, I don't think she was nearly as bossy as Christopher Watt's wife was. And I don't think Darlie would have ever called her husband a loser. I don't think Darlie would have ever taunted little Devin or Damon until they turned to tears. I don't think she would have threatened a haircut if she knew that they wanted to grow their hair long. I think Darlie was actually a good mom for most of her children's lives. I think what happened, just my opinion, is that she had some sort of a psychotic break. And I think that during the commission of the murders, I don't think she even knew it was happening. I think when she came to, I guess would be the way to say it, or when the episode was over, just my opinion, I think she looked at the blood, she looked at the knife, she looked at the shirt that she was wearing covered in blood, she looked at her children laying on the floor after they had been so brutally stabbed. And I think she soon realized what she had done. But I think she was just as shocked as anybody was over what happened. Uh-oh, there goes the phone. I'm gonna put you on mute just for a second. Oh. Hey guys, sorry about that. But you guys know when my phone rings, I answer it. Okay, DG says SW was sadistic. I think when it comes to the children, I think she definitely, well, especially Bella, I think. You know, think about that Whack-A-Daddy video. Bella was completely staying away from her. She was like almost hiding under the chair. Remember that video where it seemed like she was going after her and like mocking her, picking her up, telling her it was her turn. I'm gonna see if I can find that video quick, because there's just something so it makes you angry. It's like the water in the face video. That is not somebody with a bond with their child. It just isn't. I'm sorry. There's something very, the word that DG uses is exactly right. It's very sadistic to have to get your child crying before she can look at the camera and act like, oh, she has it so rough because she's so, let's see, if I put in Whack-A-Daddy video, it probably won't come up. So we'll do this. And then there's another one too. This isn't really the sadistic part, but you remember when he was standing there doing that life-size checkerboard thing? She was enjoying that. Like, she was enjoying calling him names. It was weird. That was not just a normal ha ha he he. It was like she enjoyed making a total, or trying to make a total fool of him. Okay, here it is, I think. I found it. Let's see here. Yep, this is it.
Yeah. Hit it, Dummy. Hit it, Bella. Hard. Hit it hard. Bend down and hit it. Come on. Oh!
Nice. Nice.
Do it again. You want to do it again? Hit that again, Bella. Hit it.
Okay, so she does it the first time. She does it the second time.
Who's next? Cece,
Who's
next?
Cece, you're next. Cece's turn. You go on the other side, Cece.
All right, go ahead. Go, Cece.
Some more?
Cece.
Go on the other side. Go ahead and hold her up a little bit.
What's that?
Oh, she wants to hit it, Chris. Hit it hard.
Okay, so Bella, this is where she's first saying, "Don't do it to me," and she's backing up.
Oh, she did that, Chris.
Nice.
She did that. Yeah. Okay.
Cece's eating the whipped cream.
You want to do it? Come on, let's do it.
Now Bella goes
Chris,
right
Bella wants
into
to do
the,
it.
she puts her face right there, and then she runs away. She says nope, and then Cece says she does, so she's going to line right up there.
Now put her head higher. Wait.
Nope, she wants to hit the hammer.
Just put her head in there. No, put her head.
Okay, so get this. Christopher Watt's wife just said, put her head in there. No, put her head in there. And Christopher Watts grabbed Cece.
Hey, ready? Move your hands, Cece.
And then Christopher Watt's wife is the one who puts the whipped cream on Cece.
Oh, Dieter.
Oh, look at Dieter eat it.
And then Dieter's eating the whipped cream.
Cece, no.
Cece's trying to get the whipped cream away from Dieter because she wants to eat it.
Bella's turn. It's okay.
And then Christopher Watt's wife says Bella's turn, and Bella said no.
Is that yummy, Cece?
You got it all
No,
over
it
your
isn't
face.
here.
Bella's underneath the chair.
Come on, Bella, your
You
turn.
want to do it? You want to try?
Christopher Watt's wife says Bella doesn't want to. Bella, it's your turn.
You want it? Okay.
And then someone sprayed whipped cream into Bella's mouth so much that it gagged her.
No, do pie in the face. Who wants to see Chris do pie in the face again? Cece, hit it. Ready?
So they're loading up the whipped cream again.
I wasn't even in there yet, kid.
I know. It doesn't do anything.
Bella's turn.
No.
And Christopher Watts' wife says again, Bella's turn. And then she tells Christopher Watts to get her.
My turn.
Yeah.
Is anyone counting how many times Bella's saying no?
Harder, Susie. Hit it. Shannon's turn.
Yeah. That's
Nope. Shannon,
Oh,
your
come
turn.
on.
After Bella. Come on, it's your turn.
Oh, and then
Bella's turn.
Christopher Watts' wife was just told by her mother that it was her turn, and she said it after Bella.
Cece's turn. Chris. Cece's turn.
Cece's
And then she's saying it's Cece's turn.
Your turn. Cece, go with Daddy.
So it's okay for her to sit there with the can of whipped cream and to keep telling everyone else, right? But she's not willing to take a turn. And here's
Okay,
Bella again saying, no, no.
Ready, Chris? You ready?
She says, I don't want to. That's pretty clear. She's hiding and saying, no, no, I don't want to.
Hit it. Harder.
All right, you're good.
All right, Cece's turn again. Go behind Daddy. Go by Daddy. Let's get pie in the face. Look at Dieter's. Look at Dieter's face.
It's Cece's turn again. Go behind Daddy. Go by Daddy.
Wait, Cece, wait.
Come on.
Come on, Cece, go by Daddy.
Where?
Nana's turn. You go by Daddy. Go by Daddy. Go by Daddy. You ready? Ready, Daddy?
And now Cece's pretty clear that she doesn't
Come
want
on,
to
Cece.
either. So, of course, they pick her up. And
More fingers. Do it again.
and now Cece's starting to cry.
Chris, I'll wipe your face. Come on.
So Christopher Watts runs off to wash Cece's face, and Cece's crying. And then Christopher Watts' wife goes after Bella. She's clearly just said, I don't want to.
I see it on your face. Oh, you just wiped in your eyes. Chris.
Yep.
Hey, grab her. Grab her.
And then Christopher Watts' wife said, Chris, grab her, grab her.
Come on, come on, come on.
He runs around and grabs her.
Quick, quick, quick.
She's crying.
Get her in there. Get her
She
in.
has her
Go,
hands
get
over
her.
her face.
Oh,
And they did it anyway. They did it anyway. And they think it's funny.
It's okay. It's all off. Hey, it's all off. Okay, it's all off. I promise. You want to see it's all off? You want to see? Stop. Look. It's all off. See? Watch.
And then, do you notice the difference?
Just your hair. Say hi to everybody.
Say hi, Bella.
Okay, we don't have to do it anymore.
Say hi to everybody. It's okay. It's okay. Does anybody think maybe it's not a good idea to push your kid to tears like that? I mean, come on. Seriously. What on earth? It's a game. Games are supposed to be fun. Exactly, DG. It is not funny. Dolo says, I think, or Daisy Day says, I think SW set that video up. Oh, look at my kids. Oh, yes. And the whole idea of okay, it's Cece's turn. Chris, get Cece. Chris, get Bella. Chris, get Bella. Why didn't Christopher Watts say, you know what, maybe this is not a good thing. Maybe this isn't funny. Maybe this is not okay. Nope. He just runs around like a chicken with his head cut off, grabbing the kids, and the kids start screaming, and then she comes in, for the rescue, right? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Her voice changed totally. Exactly. Why didn't the two with the the can of whipping cream, why didn't they put their faces and let the kids smack them with some whipping cream in the face? Paul says this is difficult to listen to. It is disgusting. And, I started off talking about how people are always trying to compare Christopher Watt's wife with Laci Peterson. Laci Peterson would have never treated children this way. Never. I highly doubt that Laci Peterson would have treated her children at all like Christopher Watt's wife treated Bella and Cece. I highly doubt it. Pixie Doll says it's like the water video, the spray bottle thing. She doesn't respect what Bella wants. I don't think she saw Bella as a person. I think she saw Bella as an object. I do. It's really sad. But you know what? Bella and Cece deserve better. And Christopher Watts had a responsibility to stand up for those girls. During any of these videos that we've been talking about, Christopher Watts had a duty to his children to protect them from this crap. DG says it's like apples and oranges. Exactly right. In my opinion, there's no comparison at all between Laci Peterson and Christopher Watt's wife. But let's get back to that Darlie Routier list. Money was getting tight. She couldn't spend it like she used to be able to. I think her American Express was maxed, which is far different than Christopher Watt's wife with her, we were told, stack of credit cards. I highly doubt she ever qualified for an American Express. At least Darlie and Darren paid their balance off every month. But it was maxed out. They were facing a tough time financially. She had some stress going on. And there was evidently talk of some kind of a divorce. Otherwise, why would Darlie have been worried about custody if she had gone for counseling? I think if we dug in a little bit deeper, which I'm doing over on Patreon, I'm going to do a third video on I've got the video I'm going to upload talking specifically about the Darlie Routier case and how in both cases, in my opinion, there were mothers of young children who needed help. Pixie says that Laci and SW are complete opposites. I agree. Pixie Doll. Paul says, I agree. He should have protected Bella and Cece. Do you remember at one point he said that she wasn't supposed to be there? Meaning, I guess, the morning of the tragedy? Or he didn't know she was going to be there or something like that? Do you remember last week how we talked about what if it was moving day, the day of the tragedy? Maybe he actually thought he was protecting her. Maybe he thought the nightmare was over. Maybe it was moving day and maybe his own wife wasn't supposed to be there. You have to ask yourself, why were there so many locks on bedroom doors? What was that about? If you have two children who supposedly have asthma, which I don't believe for 1 second, but if that's what you're going to claim, then why do you have locks on their bedroom doors? Because anybody with half a brain cell would know that if a child has asthma, then they better be able to get out of their rooms in the middle of the night if they are having any kind of distress. Who locks their kids in their bedrooms for 12 hours straight? I'm sorry. That's weird. That's weird all by itself. But maybe the locks were on the doors to protect them from their mother. Maybe. And maybe he didn't know that she was going to be there. Maybe it was moving day. Maybe when she went to North Carolina with her father, you remember her father flew out and then he flew with the girls and with her back to North Carolina. Maybe that was it. Maybe the marriage was over right then and there. Maybe he didn't know that she was coming back. I know there's pictures of all of them in the airport. Well, who's taking the pictures? And why are they taking pictures like that? Right? Yes, Paul, they did say that Christopher Watts would go in at midnight and give them a sandwich because they were so hungry. You know, probably their noodles or their pizza wore off between 6 o'clock and 12 midnight, right? What if she returned to Colorado, what if she was actually supposed to be staying somewhere else? And what if somebody took her home without Christopher Watts knowing it? And this is assuming that Christopher Watts is, covering up an entirely different story than what he told, right? Sue says, could you imagine Bella and Cece as teenagers dealing with that family dynamic? They never had a chance. Well, it's really sad because we have so many resources, right, for families. We have so many agencies and support services that are supposed to be available, right? But are they really helping? Do they know what to look for? Sue said, Paul, I never heard that, but I believe it. Cindy Watts said that her son would go in at midnight every night and give the kids sandwiches because she was talking about how she was worried so often because her son never got to have any sleep. He had to get up super early, right? And then he had to get up in the middle of the night to feed the girls. In an abusive marriage, sleep deprivation is common, right? And remember, didn't some of the neighbors say they didn't even know that children lived there? I wonder if he babysat his wife in the evenings. And then, of course, he had to take the phone call because didn't his father-in-law call every night to check on the girls? And then maybe he could get a workout in, get a good shower, try to get a couple hours sleep, and then he had to wake up at midnight to feed the girls. And then he had to wake up in a few hours after that and go to work. But remember, he said, what was it he said? That she wasn't supposed to be there? Or that he didn't know she was going to be there? DG says drugs, alcohol abuse, mental illness. Well, I'll put a comma in there. Drugs and alcohol abuse. I think child abuse. I think flat out child abuse. I think spousal abuse. I think financial abuse. I think sexual abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, because even if she doesn't quite know how to pull it, there's no doubt about it. When she's calling him inept with finances, and when she's calling him a loser, and when she's trying to convince people that he was chasing her, and when she's saying that he was out of shape when they met, when in fact it was her who was out of shape and he was fit, she was transferring character traits like right and left. She was totally transferring character traits, trying to make herself evidently, be all important and turning her husband into nothing but a loser, right? When I think actually the opposite was true. Okay, Jeanette, thanks. Jeanette says that he said she wasn't supposed to be there. So, okay, what if it was moving day? What if she did come back to Colorado after her big weekend, I don't know, or whatever. But if she did come back to Colorado, what if he wasn't expecting her to be there at all? What if that was moving day? It makes sense to me. I know it's like, huh, right? When you first hear it, it's like moving day. But think about it. That court case was coming up for an ongoing family matter. Think about it. If it was moving day. Yes, Paul, excellent point. It's exactly right. It sounds like how the scumbag attackers pull their bullshit, right? And this is what they did. They said things like, oh, multiple bankruptcies, lying about careers and education for all 10 of us that they first, targeted. They said the same crap about all of us. And then sure enough, it was all true about Christopher Watt's wife. Throw the spaghetti to the wall and I guess see what'll stick, right? Or try to scare people into silence, or just be a downright weirdo bully, or just be a psycho, I guess. Make a lot of noise, make a lot of threats, act all big and tough, pretend like you got a bunch of people who stand behind you. And then pretty soon people kind of fall away by the wayside going, ooh, that case is toxic. That case is yucky. Instead of those of us who are hardcore true crimers who hung around and said, wait a minute, why are we being lied to over and over again? What's the truth about Christopher Watt's wife? Boy, just look at what all we found out in the last 3 years. Successful businesswoman? Blech. Successful executive? Employee with a $1 billion company, really? That each and every one of us could sign up for if we wanted to, and then we could call ourselves successful executives too. Employees, not so much. When you have to pay money to work, you're probably not very successful. I'm just saying. Jeanette says that the R's have given a lot away. Do you mean a lot of hints about what they're trying to hide, or what do you mean? Sue says the girls, especially Bella, were terrified of the slightest thing, the rain, the beach, etc., the dirt. I don't think they were socialized outside the home much, if at all, aside from daycare. I don't think they were integrated into the home either. I don't think they bonded with their mother. So I don't think they had an interaction going on within the home or outside of the home. I think daycare was it for them. Daycare and their visits from their Mimi and Papa. Paul says the most shocking was having twins at 14. I'd never heard that until catching up on your recent lives. Well, they never accused us of having twins at 14. They accused us of having a baby when we were 14. The twins situation, I think, happened about 10 to 12 years later, maybe 14 years later. Yes, it's by what they've said. They've given a lot of possessions away, and then I get phone calls saying that the contents, I guess, of the house, this is what I was told by somebody who evidently knows somebody, whoever, whatever, that evidently there's a whole lot of the contents of that house sitting in the same storage space that it's been sitting in since shortly after the murders. Yeah, Paul, the two are separate. They never accused any of us of having twins at age 28, but they did accuse us of having babies when we were 14. Exactly, Sue. Manipulators like scumbag attackers and like Christopher Watt's wife tend to project their own issues onto the people they're trying to disparage. Well, and it's back to the chameleon thing, too. I don't think she knew how to be an adult. I don't think she knew how to be a normal person. So I think she latched on to other people trying to take their strengths or adopt their characteristics as her own. You know, psychopaths and sociopaths will often watch the expressions, the facial expressions of others, and then they'll try to mimic it. I think she was mimicking others, trying to figure out how to be an adult. I think she actually was drawn to Cindy Watts, to her mother-in-law, because I think her mother-in-law was actually helping her become an adult woman. I don't think she knew how. I don't think she dyed her hair black because she was wanting to be a brunette necessarily, because she wasn't, we know. I think she was searching for a new identity over and over again. And I think the reason she was searching the way it appears she always was because she never had one. And that's, I think, something that would be very scary if she's grappling with how to be a person. You know, how to manage her own, I don't know, feelings. Do you think that Christopher Watt's wife had empathy for others? I don't. And having empathy for others is part of being human. You know, that little video that I just played of the Whack-A-Daddy whipped cream in the face video, I don't think she had empathy at all for either one of her children. You know, Cece started to cry in that little video too. Both girls crying over a game? Well, the adults thought it was funny. Huh, isn't that something? Hey, Mary. If she doesn't have empathy, what else is it that she was lacking? I know a lot of people say that she was a nanny for that nurse for a few months. Well, for a few years, I've been saying, a babysitter maybe for a couple months for one kid. Like, that is not a career, guys. Sorry. If you're babysitting for someone for a couple of months for one kid, please don't call yourself a nanny. That's ridiculous. But as time goes on, I don't think she was ever a babysitter. I think they did meet on care.com, but I think that nurse was actually another one in a long list of caregivers. And I think that's exactly why she moved into her basement. And do you remember that one video I did about the kitchen? She was standing in the kitchen doing like a selfie of her and Christopher Watts. It was when she had Christopher Watts holding up 2 drinks. I think it was a beer and a mixed drink. And then they were standing in that kitchen, and she evidently thought it was cool to take their picture in that kitchen. But she probably didn't realize that being pregnant, it probably wasn't that cool, right? To show the drink. And so, of course, she was quick to elaborate that those were both drinks for Christopher Watts. Yeah, bullshit. And then a couple of people posted comments saying, wow, what a nice kitchen. And they said something about how Bella would be getting her hands on those spices or something. You know, the shelves, the little rack. And she just rolled with it as if that was her kitchen. It wasn't her kitchen. It was the nurse's kitchen. And she was liking their comments. and acting as if that was her kitchen. That is not normal behavior. That is psycho. And it also makes you wonder. The only few people who commented were people who had evidently no clue where she lived or who she lived with, right? If they didn't even know what her kitchen looked like. But she rolled with it. She let them believe that was her kitchen. There's something weird about that. Very weird about that. That's what I think. I think she's been held up as being some sort of a success story. And I think, in fact, she was suffering, she was hurting, and she needed help. Paul asks, did she have any MLM friends? I guess she had like hundreds of them, right? Some of them had never met her before, but I think they all called each other friends. Hey guys, you know what I'm going to do? I'm taking a look at the time here. I'm going to reappear in a couple of hours, and we're going to pick up where we're leaving off here, but I need to take off right now. And I'm so sorry to do this, but I'll be back in a couple of hours. I would say, let's see, let's say 2:30. That way I know I won't be late, or I have a better chance of not being late. I'm going to pop back on at 2:30 this afternoon, and we'll pick up right at this point. I promise. Sorry, but I'll see you soon.